what you asked for.
I need a reminder,
All right,
okay?
Logan.
A reminder? What?
Do you want me just to move the microphone and I just control it since I'm lefty?
Hey, I forget it, okay?
Like,
I mean, there's a lot of good stuff.
I mean, it's literally Genesis is pretty much.
Can't remember is the actual verse, the first verse of the Bible.
I mean, Genesis is literally the beginning code.
Yeah, like, you can't even forget that no matter how hard you try.
What?
The code, like wait, what? No,
The Garden of Eden?
yeah, like you can't, like there's no way that you could forget in the beginning.
God created.
Yeah, like how could you forget that?
That's just like common Christian cliche.
You need a bunny.
Anyway. Alright, so I start off with a prayer. So. Cool.
Yeah,
So whenever
boy.
you're
Let's
ready.
pray. Y'all ready?
Yeah, boy.
Y'all ready for this?
Sorry, heard weird sounds. Okay. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together today to be able to hang out and read some scripture. I ask that as we prepare to do so, you would open our hearts and our minds to be able to understand that which is written down. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Genesis Genesis 1 verses 6 through 19. God said, "A dome in the middle of the water to separate water from water." And God made the dome and separated the water under the dome and the water above the dome. So it came to be. God called the dome heavens, and there was evening and morning a second day. God said, "The water under the heavens is to gather into one place so that the dry land may appear." So it came to be. God called the dry land earth, the gathering of water he called seas. God saw that it was good. God said, "The earth is to put forth vegetation, plants producing seed, fruit trees making fruit according to their species, with their seed in them on the earth." So it came to be. The earth brought forth vegetation, plants producing seed according to their species, and trees making fruit with their seed in them according to their species. God saw that it was good, and there was evening and morning a third day. God said, "Lights in the dome of the heavens to separate day and night. They will be for signs and occasions and days and years. There will be lights in the dome of the heavens to give light on the earth." And so it came to be. God made the two big lights, the bigger light to rule the day and the smaller light to rule the night, and the stars. God put them in the dome of the heavens to give light on the earth, to rule over the day and the night, and to separate light and darkness. God saw that it was good, and there was evening and morning a fourth day. All right.
Alrighty then.
Logan, anything stand out to you?
Whoa, why did you do that?
It's dramatic.
I don't have the long hair now to make it really, really dramatic. Just
I can still picture it in my head.
It's like a shampoo commercial. While you're reading the Bible.
Oh, no, that's hers. Get out of here.
And then you go like this. Oi, Logan.
Ah.
Just look him deadpan in the eyes.
You know, go outside, bro.
It really reminds me of the Terry Crews Old Spice ads. He's like
Yes.
staring at the camera, he flips his head like all the sound effects.
And he had the like really high energy in those commercials, right?
I mean,
So-
that's more body wash commercials.
Yeah, I was more of a fan of the previous like the previous guy. He's like a football player who did the Old Spice commercials.
He
Like-
still does them.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, the Hawaiian kind of guy.
No, he's like. I could show you after, but
Islander.
he's like, now look at me, now look at your man, now look at me, now look at your man.
Who's he? White?
No, he's black.
Oh. I don't think I remember that one.
Oh man, they're kind of like when I was a teenager, and
I have to see it too.
it was like early YouTube where I would just show that to all my friends. We thought it was the most hilarious.
Yeah.
Does your man look at me?
I-
No. But can he smell like me? Yes.
No, I remember this now. It's like really digging.
I kind of get super off the topic.
Oh yeah,
you
just
know?
completely off topic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm starting to remember. It's really deep in my memory, though. I know you're fine.
The other funny one I remember is I can't remember why it was funny, but I remember it being one of the was it Gold Bond commercials? I think it had Shaq in it. I'll have to look
Like
it
all
up.
bald people.
Because it's cleanliness. It's like Mr. Clean.
It's like tomorrow
Just completely bald.
I plan on going back to the bold.
Uh-oh.
It's for all of us receding hairline people. All right. So, Logan, what stood out to you?
No infidelity. That's all stereotyping at Logan.
Come closer. Speak into the mic. Join us, Logan.
So that means you have to repeat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, boy. I'm gonna have to repeat all this.
Yeah, big
intelligence
chungus.
that comes out of my mind.
Yeah, big chungus. Yeah, big bald.
No, don't
chungus.
I'm waiting
repeat
for you,
everything I
Logan.
say.
No,
Don't
you
just repeat everything I say. You can't just repeat every word I say.
Like, let's get serious mode.
Okay.
I just find it very hopeful literature, as this is Genesis. I mean, it's kind of set in this exact time. It's set in the early or late Bronze Age, where civilization is learning agriculture and tilling the earth, and there's like during this time, especially in the Levantine region, the earth was full of droughts, of just famines, and all kinds of natural disasters, and just that the original creation was intended to bring forth vegetation and bring forth these beautiful, perfect days and skies. It brings hope to especially the wanderers, that, which is this is written to, the wanderers, that there is a hope for a promised land, a Garden of Eden, and it gives, yeah, just imagine them being so full of surprise and hope while reading these beautiful images of the earth bringing forth vegetation, because they had to till the earth themselves, and they had to learn all these things through other cultures, and it wasn't always a perfect earth where the seeds would just sprout themselves and the land would be perfect, the soil would be perfect, So, yeah, just the hope behind this all.
So recapping. It's
Just
basically
literally,
just-
like, this is what I heard. And
Cool.
Yeah, I kind of
Well-
cut it long, but sorry.
it's fine. Just
I mean, it could be worse. You could speak for 4 hours straight. But yeah, that is cool. It does kind of.
Chubby dog, get out of here.
Focus.
Yeah, it is cool that it does kind of provide that hope of like just the fertility of the land, like the abundance of vegetation. Because yeah, during that time, it does sound like it was very arid there. So that's pretty cool. Anything stand out to you?
Yeah, I am so thankful, like, was written during a time and place. This is, in the Mediterranean, where they had the river deltas, like flooding will happen every year, and it actually will create this really rich, abundant mud, and where flourishing will happen. And so, like, I'm just thankful that John Goldingay does not, like, he uses the word dome, which at that time they really, like, the ancient imagination was that the earth was like a snow globe. And so you see here they have the snow globe, and on the very top you got the top water and then the bottom water, and they're not like, and that's why I'm still looking for this translation, is it does not try to skim around how the ancient imagination was. And so I'm just like thankful this is how Yahweh made it. Like he made, like in the original, like you know, an apple seed is not going to give you carrots. Like, and he,
Like the worst thing you could have gotten for the search.
yeah, but you hear my like when I plant apple seeds,
You're not gonna get mangoes.
I'm not, yeah, I'm like, and that's a blessing. Like there are like rich variations of apples, but I'm going to get apples. Like then that's like, and then just how abundance is made into creation. Like from one apple, like you get like what, 20, 50, like 6. I don't know how much seeds you get in an apple. But anyways, I might be. But anyways, like one apple, you get it like. And in the creation, it's like things were supposed to flourish. And yet he called it good. Like, I like the things that Yahweh calls good. And so yeah, that's just the delight I see here. I'm enjoying the delightful God just out of his love and purpose creating a beautiful world to maintain. And how does he maintain it? With us, his image bearers. And so he could have maintained this just like through his invisible, you know, I'm going to say hand, the metaphor hand. He could have, but he actually uses his creation. And then this here, these blessings, this goodness, if we operate out of love and self-giving, it will continue to flourish. And whenever we define good and bad on our own, here Yahweh is saying things are good. But whenever we take a moment to define good and bad on our own, and that's when the raw happens, evil happens, bad things happen. And so, thank you, King Jesus. So yeah, that's what stood out to me.
All right. Chard, do you have anything that stood out to you? Cool. I think the one thing that stood out to me is just like the fourth day. It says, lights in the dome of the heavens to separate day and night. They'll be for signs and occasions and days and years. There'll be lights in the dome of the heavens to give light on the earth. And I've been like keeping track of the Hebrew calendar. And so it's like really just that one's standing out to me because it's like when you look at the Hebrew calendar, it's a lunisolar calendar. And so it's not just like looking at strictly the lunar cycles or strictly at the solar cycles, but like at the combination of both of those. And so it's like you see the unity between all of the like appointed times, the days, months, years. It's like everything's interconnected. And so here it's like just one of these amazing things where it's like it could only have been God who did that. Just like showing that connection. But then also like one of the other things that I was kind of thinking about is like the placement of that day within Creation Week. Is like all of the like important parts of the cycles is like you have the creation of the earth, the water, and then the plants. And really a lot of the like appointed times within the Torah are dependent more upon the like agricultural cycles. And so having this like placed where it is in Creation Week is kind of like, I don't know, just one of the things I'm seeing it being very purposeful. And so they didn't have sin and death until much later. So it's like really is the only thing that was important was the agricultural seasons, because you didn't have the need for like the sacrifice of lambs or anything until later. So it's really just that's the important time. Is just the agriculture. But I think that's about it that stood out to me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, one more thought. Look, another thought.
Come
Finish your thought.
closer.
Just last week I brought this up it says in verse 16, God made the two big lights, the bigger light to rule the day and the smaller light to rule the night. Now, I propose that Genesis uses these why doesn't Genesis just say the sun and the moon? Well, in my perspective, I think it's being an apologetic against God's ruling the earth, but Yahweh ruling the earth by considering them big lights, the bigger light, the sun, ruling the day, because the words it uses the words big light and the smaller light as substitutions for the words sun and moon, because they denote a god rule. Like the words have the meaning of a god. I forget the exact terms, but like the term for sun is literally a god in Babylonian language, and the word moon is also
Lady Luna. So yeah, you're seeing a connection between also the Elohims that govern in the ancient imagination, the Elohims that also govern.
It gets rid of that idea that other Elohims rule the skies. It's only Yahweh.
Oh,
Possibly.
We can make this easy.
It's not going to tell you the words.
Can no, there's a way.
It doesn't use the word sun or moon in the sentence. It just says big lights.
But yeah, we're getting way too deep because I know Broheim wants to move. So let's have this conversation another time. So let's commentary up.
Okay. Let's do commentary now.
Thank you, Logan.
Now I'm going to have to look it up after this.
Yeah.
Okay. At the weekend, my wife and I like to have lunch by the ocean. And while doing so, we watch the surf hurling itself at the beach. No matter how hard giant waves batter the beach, they will never climb the rocks to where we sit, still less the mountains that arise just across the coastal highway. Relatively small-scale floods can imperil parts of the land, but in principle, God has firmly established the boundary between sea and land. Admittedly, humanity itself might be able to frustrate God's work here, as we can often frustrate God's work. Global warming is a way we could do it, though this would more likely involve our destroying the oceanfront by causing wildfires to come down the mountains than by a tsunami climbing up them. Genesis reassures Israel that God indeed established a boundary between the water in the sky and the water below, and a boundary between sea and land. It does not describe the dome coming into being as if by magic in the way the light did. That is not its only way of describing how God brings things into being. God again makes a declaration, but then acts to bring that word into effect. God makes the dome like a superhuman structural engineer building the dome of a giant sports arena, except that this dome is subject to no years of delay and no costly overruns. The dome appears within the day as instantly as if it did come into existence by magic. Imagine a speeded up film of a big construction project. The function of a dome is to keep the weather out. This dome divides the water in the sky from where the rain comes and the water below it, the seas. Earth's atmosphere being in between. It is as if the sky is what it looks like. A solid vault in the heavens, like a colander with sliders that can either cover the holes so the weather is fine or expose them so it rains. As God puts the dome in place, the macrostructure of the world is coming into being. Of course, the sky isn't really solid, and maybe Israelites realized that. We don't have to be literalist in interpreting a picture. There are lots of repetitions in this story, such as God said, and so it came to be. Some draw attention to key facts about the way God made the world, such as God's creating by speaking, and the ease with which things came about in response to God's word. But the Old Testament is not formulaic in the way it uses repetition. So, in connection with Day 2, the lack of reference to God's noting that the dome was good does not imply God thought that there was something wrong with it. It's just that Genesis likes variation with its repetition. Maybe this keeps the audience on its toes. On Tuesday, once again, God speaks, then speaks again, and each time, poof, the thing happens. We picture the sea, which had covered the entire landmass, retreating from much of it, so that land itself emerges. God speaks once more and speaks into existence the world of plants and fruit trees. God orders that they have the means of production within them. Elsewhere, the Old Testament can portray God being personally involved in bringing into being each individual mango and each head of garlic. But in Genesis 1, the picture is of God requiring plants to have the capacity to reproduce themselves. It is another indication that there is some orderliness about the nature of creation. Suppose you could never know whether the tree that produced apples last year might produce pears this year and peaches next year. This unpredictability might be fun, though it would also be confusing, and it would engender some insecurity. But no, God ordered that tomato seeds should produce tomatoes, and lettuce seeds should produce lettuces. And for that matter, human beings should beget human beings, and not some other species. Things reproduce according to their species. The world is characterized by order and consistency. On Wednesday, once more, God speaks and then also acts, now operating like a supernatural engineer working for the power company, putting up 2 huge lamps in the sky. But there is something odd here. Israelites knew that the sun and the moon were their sources of light. Why do they picture these not appearing until Day 4? In a paradoxical way, it reflects how important they are. When there is no artificial light, even the moon and the stars help people find their way. In many cultures, there thus seems to be something supernatural about them. Maybe the mysterious way they move around is one fact that suggests this. For many in Israel's contemporaries, many of Israel's contemporaries, the stars and planets that fill the heavens represented those gods whose existence we noted in connection with Genesis 1:1. The sun, the moon, and the stars are then the entities through which the gods' decisions get announced and implemented. Their movements indicate what the gods are doing and what is going to happen on Earth. So you consult the planets and stars when you want to know what is going to happen. The Babylonians were the first great astrological culture. Their observations are the foundation of Western astrology. Oh, that is interesting. In the exile, Isaiah 40, verses 25 through 26, assured Israel that, on the contrary, its one God was in control of all the forces represented by stars and planets. These are a kind of heavenly army, and when this God summons them, none of them is idle on parade. And once again, this creation story in Genesis exists not merely to give people information about something that happened way back then, but to offer good news in the here and now. Genesis 1 is a gospel story, a story containing good news. The way it speaks of sun and moon and stars reflects this background. I have referred to sun and moon, but Genesis does not call them that. It speaks simply of God making two big lights, and then adds, as an afterthought, and the stars. We ourselves know something of the extraordinary expanse of the universe, of how many stars there are. For us, and the stars is quite an afterthought. But for a different reason, this was also the case for Israelites, because the people link the stars and planets with the gods. They are not gods or representatives of gods. The sun and moon are just lampposts in the sky. Genesis subtly puts sun and moon and stars in their place. Sun and moon do serve God and people by signifying set times for festivals and the like, providing ways to structure time and let people know when to celebrate Passover or Pentecost, when to offer sacrifices. The regular sacrifices take place at dawn and dusk, and when the Sabbath begins and ends. So creation and life with God, ordinary life and the life of worship, belong together. They are not in separate compartments.
Oos.
That was a good one.
Just on your computer.
All right. Corey, what stood out to you?
I mean, I just love it. It is in Isaiah. The usual term for Yahweh is Yahweh armies, and so supposed to see like kind of like Yahweh is the army general and all the things we have up there. He is pretty much being an army having his host. That's why you can see some of the host. I thought you were saying no to me, and I was like,
What the heck?
so you can see even some of the host were even moving the stars for when you brought the wise men, who are like, there's supposed to be a God king here, and we came to worship him. And so it's like there's nothing. I just love like how Yahweh is like so much in charge of the macro. And I mean like the cosmos. But also like he cares so much about the tiny little details about seed and plant bearing. And even when like we, like the Elohims, the angels, you know, the host of heavens, which the host of heavens is denoting the Elohims out there. Like, he's in charge of it all. And he is just, beautifully creating and doing things for our enjoyment. Thank you, King Jesus. So yeah, that's what stood out to me.
Jar, did you have anything that stood out to you? Logan, how about you?
It stood out.
He's too far away.
Talks about the hope and that the beginning is a gospel story, a story containing good news. I really enjoyed that. Just connecting to what I was talking about, that these people are exiles and wandering from the land of Egypt, and Moses gives them this beautiful book, and it's hope for them. It's of a land to come, and that was once. Yeah, I just want to meet the ancient Israelites and give them a big hug and welcome myself and I to the age to come that is in the future. And yeah, also just how just neighboring countries influence each other, neighboring people groups. Babylon was a huge influence to probably Abraham's thought, and he kind of just had to.
He came from the Babylonian area.
Yeah, that's what I'm going
Yeah.
He had these adopted ideas from them, but Yahweh called him out from that. He called him out from the furnace,
Mm-hmm.
and gave him a new life. And just that, like, kind of just an anthropological idea is that in these ancient times, wanderers and the people that were heavily ingrained in agriculture and urban lifestyle, and the urban lifestyle had a huge influence on neighboring wanderers. Like the neighboring wanderers would literally adopt the urban life and culture because they didn't really have any. Kind of like how Native Americans, adopted Western values in some areas. Kind of when the first colonization happened.
Yeah.
They adopt and they're like, well, we want to partner with you and do these things. But the Babylonians were completely wrong in Yahweh's truth.
Also with that thought is, like when the pilgrims first come, the Native Americans helped them with agriculture, how to agriculture in their land, and where they use fish. With like they'll literally put a fish with the seed to really provide that nutrients. So that's good. And the pilgrims were wanderers,
Mm-hmm.
So I love that. Thank you, Logan. I'm taking over, but it's all you, bro.
Cool. I guess the recap is that it's just
So you go.
You know.
What I heard, and you just look for confirmation.
it was words of encouragement, right? Pretty much provide hope for the people.
Kind of like from like here, they are stepping away from Egyptian. This is when it was this book was from the Egyptian cosmos narrative. And they, like he said, wanderers, and here they're in like literally tohu vavohu. They're in a wild waste. And here is Yahweh bringing all that chaos into order. Like how much more beautiful, like, and then, so this is when they are in the desert exile. And then now when they're actually in exile in Babylon, like how much of a beauty, like, because we know there's original Moses and there's a lot of editors during the Babylonian exile. And so it's like this beautiful, just answering both chaos, both they don't know, like all the like that's good news, like Yahweh still reigns. The Egyptians and the Babylonians, like who you think are in charge, you think their God's in charge? No, I set them in their proper place. I was like, what do you think are gods? I set that there so that they could actually just be signs for seasons. That's their job. And also signs for when the Mashiach comes. Like their jobs are signs. Like that is just beautiful. So yeah, that's my recap of what I heard from Logan. Your turn. What's that to you?
I like the fact that he connects it to the astrological understandings of the cultures around them. How it's like they saw the heavenly lights as being like not technically gods, but like connected to the gods. And so having God like create those kind of, shows that it's putting all of those lights under his authority and not like the gods, which is pretty cool. And then also like, the connection again to like the feasts and then the sacrifices, like how important it was to not just like, the cycles of the seasons for like the growing seasons, like grapes and figs and stuff. But like even to the worship aspect with like the sacrifices, because that was a very integral thing.
Yep.
And then also like again you'd have with the moon specifically, there's the first day of the month, basically when the new month started, one of the things they recommended to do was sound the 2 silver trumpets. And so that also kind of plays into that as well, where it's not just like, here's another random day of the year. It's like, here is an appointed time. Like, it's a serious thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
But also, lettuces sounds wrong. Like, honestly, I feel like it should be leti. It's like octopuses.
All right. Thank you, Ethan. All right, so Bio Project? Or you just want to read the second section? Yeah?
He has spoken.
So it looks like it did Haggai. Now we'll keep going down. Zechariah. See, I feel like I put it. Okay, it's on the right.
The book of the prophet Zechariah. The book is set after the return of the exiles from Babylon to Jerusalem, and we're told in the book of Ezra that the book of the prophet Zechariah. The book is set after the return of the exiles from Babylon to Jerusalem, and we're told in the book of Ezra that Zechariah and Haggai together challenged and motivated the people to rebuild the temple and look for the fulfillment of God's promises. Now, long ago, Jeremiah the prophet had said that Israel's exile would last for 70 years, and that afterwards God would restore his presence to a new temple and bring his kingdom and the rule of the Messiah over all nations. The dates at the beginning of this book tell us that those 70 years are almost up. But life back in the land was hard, and it seemed like none of these promises were going to come true. Why? And the book of Zechariah offers an explanation. It has a fairly clear design. There's an introduction which sets the tone for a large collection of Zechariah's dream visions, and that's concluded by chapters 7 and 8. And then this is followed by 2 more large collections of poetry and prophecy. Let's just dive in and see how the book works. It begins with Zechariah's challenge to his generation to turn back to God and not be like their ancestors who rebelled and refused to listen to the earlier prophets, which landed them in exile. And so now the returned exiles respond positively to Zechariah. They repent and humble themselves before God, or so it seems. The next large section is a collection of 8 nighttime visions that Zechariah experienced. And just to prepare you, these are full of very bizarre, strange images, a lot like your dreams. The idea that God communicates to people through symbolic dreams, it's very old. It goes back to the book of Genesis. The dreams of Jacob or Joseph or Pharaoh, these gave meaning to current events at the time, but they also gave a window into the future. And so Zechariah has his own dreams now, and they've been arranged in this really cool symmetrical design. The first and the last visions are about 4 horsemen each. They're like rangers patrolling the world on God's behalf, and it's a representation of God's attentive watch over the nations. Their report is that the world is at peace. And in Zechariah's day, this refers to how God raised up Persia to conquer Babylon and bring peace. And so the question now arises, the 70 years of Israel's exile are almost up. Is now the time for the Messianic kingdom in Jerusalem? And God responds by saying that he's determined to fulfill those promises, but he leaves the question of timing unanswered. The second and 7th visions are paired because they're both reflections on Israel's past sin that led up to the exile. So the second vision is about these horns that symbolize the nations that attacked and then scattered Israel, Assyria and Babylon. But then these horns or empires are themselves scattered by a group of blacksmiths, an image for Persia. The seventh dream is about a woman in a basket, and we're told that she's a symbol of the centuries of Israel's covenant rebellion. And then this woman is carried off to Babylon by other women who carry the basket flying with stork wings. This is so strange. The third and sixth visions are paired, as they're both about the rebuilding of a new Jerusalem. So a man is measuring the city. It's an image of God's promise that Jerusalem will be rebuilt and become a beacon to the nations who will join God's people in worship. And then the sixth dream is about a scroll that flies around the New Jerusalem, punishing thieves and liars. The idea being that the New Jerusalem is a place that's purified from sin by the scriptures. The fourth and fifth visions are at the center of this collection, and they're about the two key leaders among the returned exiles. So Joshua, the high priest, and then Zerubbabel, the royal descendant of David. So Joshua had been symbolically wearing Israel's sin in the form of these dirty clothes. But then those are taken off, and he's given new clothes and a new turban, a symbol of God's grace and forgiveness. And then an angel tells Joshua that if he remains faithful to God, he will lead his people, and Joshua will become a symbol of the future Messianic king. The other vision is about two olive trees that supply oil to this elaborate gold lamp, which itself is a symbol of God's watchful eye over his people. And these two trees symbolize the two anointed leaders, Joshua and then Zerubbabel, who's leading the temple rebuilding efforts. And God says that success will not come to this new temple if it's the result only of political maneuvering. Rather, these two leaders must be dependent upon the work of God's Spirit. The visions come to a close with a bonus vision from the prophet, and it picks up the themes of the central fourth and fifth visions. It's Joshua, the high priest again, and he's given a crown and presented as a symbol of the future Messiah, who will also be a priest over God's kingdom. And then Zechariah closes it all out, saying that all of these visions will be fulfilled only if the current generation is faithful to God and obeys the terms of the covenant. And so altogether, these three visions emphasize how the coming of the Messianic kingdom is conditional upon this generation being faithful to God, which leads to the conclusion of the dreams. It's another challenge from Zechariah, and a group of Israelites come, and they've been mourning over the former temple's destruction for nearly 70 years. And they ask him, is it time to stop grieving? I mean, is God's kingdom going to come very soon? And Zechariah again reminds them of how their ancestors rejected God's call through the prophets, which led to the exile. And so he challenges them too. He says, this generation will see the Messianic kingdom only if they pursue justice and peace and remain faithful to the covenant. So in other words, Zechariah reverses their question. He asks, are you going to become the kind of people who are ready to receive and participate in God's coming kingdom? And that question is left just hanging there. The people don't answer, and the book just moves on. And so we come to the final sections that are very different from chapters 1 to 8. Each section is a kaleidoscopic collage of poems and images about the future Messianic kingdom. So the first one, chapters 9 to 11, describe the coming of the humble Messianic king who's riding a donkey into the New Jerusalem to establish God's kingdom over the nations. But then, all of a sudden, this king, he's symbolized as a shepherd over the flock of Israel, and then he's rejected. First by his own people, but then also by their leaders, who are also symbolized as shepherds. And so God hands Israel over to these corrupt shepherds. And it raises the question, will Israel's rejection of their king last forever? In the final section, chapters 12 to 14, say no. It's another mosaic of poems and images about the future Messianic kingdom. And they depict the New Jerusalem as a place where God's justice will finally confront and defeat evil among the nations. It's very similar to the same themes in Prophet Joel or Ezekiel. But then God also will confront the rebellion within the hearts of his own people. He's going to pour out his Spirit on them, he says, so that they can repent and grieve over the fact that they have rebelled and rejected their Messianic shepherd. The final chapter concludes with the New Jerusalem as the gathering point for all of the nations. And then this city becomes a new Garden of Eden, and there's a river of living water flowing out of the temple, bringing healing to all of creation, and that's how the book ends. And so Zechariah just leaves you to ponder the connection between chapters 1 through 8 and 9 to 14. And the point seems to be that this future messianic kingdom of the book's second half will only come when God's people are faithful to the covenant, the point of the first half. Reading the book of Zechariah is a wild ride. These visions and poems are full of startling imagery, and they do not follow a linear flow of thought. And that's part of the point. It's like history and our lives. it doesn't always fit into neat, orderly patterns. But the prophets offer us glimpses of God's hand at work, guiding history towards his own purposes. And so ultimately, Zechariah invites us to look above the chaos and hope for the coming of God's kingdom, which should motivate faithfulness in the present. And that's what the book of Zechariah is all about.
You want me to lead the question or Ethan lead the questions? All right. What do you, Ethan? You want to lead it? Sure. All right.
Okay. Well, Logan, what stood out to you?
Kind of really confused on this all. Don't really get the point of the book.
Me too.
I kind of just have to ask a question like, are the people that are faithful to his covenant and hoping for his kingdom the poor in Rome, like the poor in Jerusalem during the rule of Rome? Were those the righteous followers of the covenant?
So, if I remember this correctly, this is like shortly after the Babylonian exile. So, this would be around 470-ish AD? Or not AD, BC. Is that right?
Well, we also got to take all. So even Daniel was like, it's 70 years. When is like your spirit going to be in Jerusalem? When's restoration going to happen? And that's when Yahweh responds, 700 years. 700. Yeah, so it's 70 times 7.
Was that right?
Or 490 years. My bad. 490 years. Yeah. And so,
Was that correct?
yeah. So, yeah, actually, when Jesus came,
Was a fulfilled prophecy?
Jesus is the fulfilled prophecy of the 490 years. 70 years. It's true. They got back to the land. And so, but it's, usually prophecies are seen as mountaintops where you don't you have these pinnacle moments, but you don't see everything that happens in between. And then which I could keep talking, but so I think this is like really just good meditation on Zechariah. So to answer just straight answer your question, they did not. Was when you read the other prophets, the people in their time, they were not faithful. And which then, which then King Jesus then comes and show we need the Spirit to bring repentance, to bring faithfulness, and which
Scripture that says they weren't faithful? Like besides
you get all the previous, you get
was Daniel written?
Ezra, you get Nehemiah.
Was Daniel written after this one?
Daniel was written. I don't know when it was written, but Daniel is around this time because Daniel served both the Babylonians and the Persians.
Okay. So this is right when they get back, right?
Yeah, this is because Zechariah was calling them to go and rebuild.
Yeah.
Zechariah and Haggai.
Do you think Zechariah knew they were going to be not faithful?
He doesn't talk about it. I mean, if he keeps, it looks like a lot of these images are pointing forward, so it seems like they weren't. Because I think, especially when we look at the other books, they weren't. They kept looking after their own property. They kept on enslaving, and then even their responses, even when they were trying to be faithful, their responses were not good. Like calling people to divorce, not good. And so you see it's and I think this is the whole part. This is, and sorry for taking over. I know you're. This is this whole part. It's a wild ride. Even because a lot of these we could definitely see Jesus, and especially in this part. We could definitely see Jesus in this part, but in the ancient people looking for the Mashiach, they were not seeing Jesus in this part. They were really hoping for the warrior bringing down the nations. And so they kept looking for the warrior bringing down the nations. They were not even seeing the humble servant. Clearly, even Jesus' time,
With
Yeah, God justice confronts that. That's the final. That's the final judgment. And so again, like the
Was Zechariah wrong?
no, he will. That's what the final judgment is about. So again, like you got to see the mountaintops, and things are usually always, especially Day of the Lords, are always they are true, but there's more to come. So this is true. We see the age of coming happening right now, where Jesus does fulfill this, and there's more yet to be fulfilled.
It's like usually from what I understand about prophecy, there's usually like a partial fulfillment, but then there's supposed to be usually also a true fulfillment, which often is much later. So with this, it's like, yeah, there's kind of a partial fulfillment where they're brought back to the land, but then the like full fulfillment is, still in the future. Corey, anything stand out to you?
Yeah, I also like, I just love because when we especially look at the Book of Revelation, it reminds me that a lot of our images come from Zechariah. Like we have the horsemen who go back and forth. We have the horns, and then it goes into I'm very much, as you could probably already know, I'm very omni-millennial in my interpretation, where we have this continual. We have these continual, like, as we get more and more and more to the final judgment, I say like the world gets more and more conformed to the image of God, because that spirit is more and more calling people to be more like Jesus. And so like you have the horsemen who are always on patrol, and you have and actually we have always kings who are in pride being brought to truth.
So, okay. This was my kind of concern was if you believe that God's Spirit works through us, how come we need Jesus to come and return to judge them? Like, won't they just be gone
Well,
by the time, like, in your kind of view?
the final judgment.
Yes.
I mean, there's clearly going to always like there will be a final. Yeah, and I say like right now we're always constantly announcing the good news of King Jesus. We're always like, so that there's a clear, like there's a lot of like I'll say right now there's like a lot of like there's people who have never heard. I'm in the camp that more and more, like the more and more we declare allegiance to King Jesus to the nation, so everyone hears. Then there's a clear like people who like there's the New Jerusalem is always like the age of victory. We're like, if you look on the two timelines, we have the age of sin and death. The age of sin and death is getting closer and closer and closer to its final closure, and the age of life is taking over the world. The age of life kingdom is like taking over the world more and more and more. Does that make sense?
No, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm just confused. So, okay, like you're saying, if we are gratuitously going towards the age to come, and we are in it, right?
Yeah, because Jesus said like on his like it is finished.
Okay, so if that's the case, that it's gratuitously coming to a crescendo of perfect, right?
At the final judgment, like the final the final judgment when the age of sin and death be
all
over.
I'm trying to say is, wouldn't you want to say like that God's judgment is already happening through us?
Well, there's obviously a final one, but yes,
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
like
That's kind of my main
like when he
core.
but when he died and resurrected, he did also like took away the keys, judged the powers. And as we declare, actually, like that's the cool part is when we go around the world calling people to King Jesus, it also judges the Elohims that are part of like announcing, like even Jesus, like if you think of the parables, like he expressed it in such a way so that it's also mercy for the people who didn't want to cling. but also it's judgment. Like it's the full basket. All right. So yeah, that's what I loved. I loved how much, especially when we look at Revelation, how much the Old Testament gives us the loaded images.
Nacho fries.
Yeah, the loaded nacho fries. Thank you for the rest of it.
Loaded bucket of nacho fries.
Yeah.
All right. Chard
I said
Oh,
didn't have anything.
right.
well, Logan was like, I didn't understand anything.
Yeah, and then we talked a lot.
I said, me too.
Logan, you got any bonus thoughts?
All right,
Cool.
Ethan.
I guess the one thing, just my view of, I guess, prophecy in general, is I think there is appointed times for the events that are described. So it's like not just, a gradual process. Although I do think there are moments of judgment, because it's like you do see that nations get judged for what they are doing, and they'll end up suffering consequences. Like you had the Canaanite nations, and then they got conquered by the Israelites. But then the Israelites didn't, listen to God, and so they got conquered by the, or at least partially conquered by the Assyrians. And then they still weren't listening, so then they got fully conquered by the Babylonians. And it's just like one nation after the next. And so there is like this constant reality check that God's doing on mankind to make sure that, they are turning towards the right direction. But I do think ultimately there is a set time for like the final judgment. So it is in a way like yes, but also this, I guess.
I do agree with you. There's a final judgment.
Mm-hmm. And then the other thing that I was thinking about, because it's also like, I don't have to read through it, but it seemed like when they were talking about the chapters 7 through 8 conclusion, that box, it seems like they're asking, are they going to see God's kingdom coming? And the response is only if you are faithful to the covenant. And so in a way, I don't think it's like contingent on whether they're going to follow the covenant, that's going to bring about the coming of God's kingdom like right then and there. But I think it's more along the lines of if they are faithful to the covenant, even if they die, they will see the coming of God's kingdom. Because it does mention there's, a resurrection. So in a way, yes, but also no.
Can I finish one thought and we'll
Oh, yeah.
call it? All right. So here's the cool part: is Jesus is the Israelite who was the faithful, true Israelite. He is the faithful high priest, and he is the faithful descendant of the David royal line. Like all of these are yes in Jesus. That's the cool part. That's the goosebumps part. They were not. But we get one who is.
I'm not saying that's like not what's happening. I'm just saying like at the time when they're asking the question, it's like, are we going to see this kingdom? Like, because they were still thinking of like just like in their lifetime. Yeah. Are we going to see this in our lifetime? And the answer is only if you are faithful to the covenant. And so it's more of a reversal of not really like answering when it's going to happen, but like, are you going to live a life where you will be able to see it?
So what I'm hearing is you're pro resurrection, because you know that Yahweh came down the show, King Jesus came down the shoal and released and pretty much also announced the good news to people who are in Sheol. But yeah, we talked. All right, so at 4:10, we got an hour, and 4:10 we'll do the last reading section, and then so let's go ahead and game.
Let's do it. I'm gonna use the bathroom first. What are you guys doing? We're doing Rocket League, boy.
Those two are. I was planning on doing Star of Paradise, but if you want to do something, Logan, I'm game. But I'm waiting for him to go. I'm not Star Providence. No, this is the Roblox junk food version. No, well, the difference is it's PvP variant, while Crab Champions is a rogue game where you work together to pretty much you beat the waves. When I say rogue champion, I meant Crab Champion. Do you plan on playing Star Providence? No? Okay. So by the way, you can delete that account sup. I just created that so that people can log into the Epic without logging you out. So hit that and hit sign out. There you go. Here, I put headphones on.
No, I already always that. No one
Here, close that and reopen it. Forgot. It's Star Province, a lot like Terraria, where you have to restart the game when you change audio formats. Do this. So yeah, I finally beat Expedition 33. Which is a pretty crazy, like, existentialist ending. Yeah. I'm happy for the ending I picked. Is I then, like, after picking my ending, then I looked online for the other ending. There's two.
I mean, like the hair.
I'm so happy that you guys are over, Logan and Ethan. Thank you so much. Such a delight. It's such a huge, like, it's like eating and living together. I love it. All right, headphones up. Beep, beep, beep. That's good. Are you doing biscuits here or talking about back at your place? Yeah, okay. I asked Robin to grab grape juice and Ritz crackers for us tonight. Okay. Gross, but okay. I hate fig Newtons so much. Thank you though for the thoughtful thing. It's just So what are you using? Oh, so so there is the port. There's a bottom. That's right. Oh, you're talking about that? So you can just attach the hub. There's the cord and the power right there. Here, I'll move this. The power cord is right there. That's the power. No, the bit. Yep, that's the big. That's the power cord for the hub. Nope. That's why I said the white cord. The white cord is what you connect to this one. So I'll give you a little all hub. Kind of like right here. And I don't think there's power going to the cord. You need to put power on the power cord. Oh my. Ah! What's up? Mm-hmm. Well, definitely not right now, but I will take you up on that. Yeah, I'll put that. I'll save that somewhere so that this is something I will love to do with my daughter and Robin. Yep. He showed you all the speed. Yeah, he likes. You guys got yourselves. You guys cheesed it. He showed you all the speedrun trick. Hmm. Crap people hold his attention. Yeah, crap hold his attention. Yes. Were you able to get it working, Logan? Okay, good. It's pretty. That is cool. Ah. Oh.
Harry Potter.
What a stupid start. Hey. Are you guys in the same game? Ah. Yeah. New game plus plus plus. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, oh, that makes sense. It'd be like people who like played the Erdtree DLC and like did it on New Game Plus Plus Plus. Hmm. Yeah. Man, that was hard. All right, after that game, we got to go through steps. Yeah. Haley was playing on it for school. Not enough for that last one. Have you seen Scully before? Like the coolest ship ever. Hi, Sweet Q. I love you. Oh, hi. Oh, it's a hi, Logan. I thought you said I love you. Way to tease me, Bailey. Oh, thank you. Love you. You can put this on the ground right next to me. Sack of ammo. What a name. Okay, did I get everything at the door? Yes, I did. Cool. Alright, well, looks like that game's over. So let's go through steps. Oh. Yeah, so go ahead.
Genesis 1 verses 20 through 25. I'm going to read. God said, "The water is to teem with the living creatures, and birds are to fly over the earth, over the face of the dome of the heavens." God created the big sea monsters and every living creature that moves, with which the water teems, according to their species, and every winged bird according to its species. God saw that it was good. God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful, be numerous, fill the water and the seas. Birds are to be numerous on the earth." And there was evening and morning, a fifth day. And God said, "The earth is to bring forth living creatures according to their species, cattle, moving things, and animals of the earth according to their species." So it came to be. God made the animals of the earth according to their species, cattle according to their species, and all the things that move on the ground according to their species. God saw that it was good. All right. Okay. Corey, you got any thoughts?
Actually, this is the time where I don't have thoughts.
Why can't you eat delicious food?
Yeah, boy.
I'll be honest. He was talking, and my brain had that rare moment where I was here, but I wasn't present.
Lights are on, but nobody's home.
You know, I was just lost in this food. That was a big.
Okay, then stop eating the food.
Well, I taught myself to focus.
How about you go stop eating food?
I eat food, boy.
Oh yeah?
Oh man, something that just occurred to me. Okay. God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful, be numerous, fill the earth and the seas. Birds are to be numerous on the earth." I'm so used to animals not speaking that I just remembered beginning of the Bible, animals are able to speak. So they most likely would have understood that.
No, if I go said to a bird. No, if I go
There's a
said
to-
to a bird.
There's a talking snake.
No,
It
if
says
I
they
go-
closed. God closed their mouths.
If I go said to a
Let me
bird,
find
go
the
bring me a
passage.
fry, and it brought me a fry.
This was back when they could apparently speak.
I mean, I know the serpent, but
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh, excuse me.
Brother just
Oh,
tooted in front of
fart.
mid-speech. Who farts in mid-speech?
It's this guy.
No one. Besides
Oof. Farting mid speech.
Stop eating that food.
So good. The chicken is a little like dry, but
You fart every time you talk, boy. So what are you talking? You go.
Shut up.
You take baby poopers. Baby poopers.
You want some of this?
No, I don't want your stinky poo poo farts. Gross, boy.
Hmm.
All right.
Think that just birds. So get wrecked.
Wow, bro.
No.
So let's pause on anything requires research. We're trying to.
Yes. We'll come back to that one. What else?
So we.
Well, I guess the other thing is just continuing off of the previous passage. This is like all the stuff that came before it kind of sets up the environment for these creatures to live in, which is pretty cool.
You said what?
So days 1, 2, and 3 create space for days 4, 5, and 6.
Mm.
So there's like the symmetry to it.
I don't know what the word symmetry is.
Okay.
Okay,
Work
boy.
on your word
Work
knowledge.
on your eyeballs. I am working on my word knowledge. I was just
Hmm.
saying, I don't think that has to do with symmetry.
Cool. I think that's about
I
it.
think it has to do with Bailey's face.
Okay.
Face.
Y'all ready for some commentary?
No.
Let's do it.
No. Okay.
All right. Are you ready? So. Good job. Good quoting. Found it? All right. Ethan's going to read.
A whole corner building in the downtown area of our city was recently reconstructed and remodeled, and to my astonishment, what opened there was a store that just sells boxes.
It's you all.
Man, that's funny. A friend of ours got a job there and told us that she was also surprised, but that there were plenty of customers. Many people wanted to sort out their lives, and they reckoned that sorting out their stuff would help a lot in that direction. I know someone else who has no boxes, but has vast amounts of stuff overflowing from everywhere. She can never find anything. It is a human instinct to need some structure in our lives and in our homes, though many people find it hard to get that structure. One of my sons used to have a notice on his desk proclaiming, "A tidy desk is a sign of a sick mind." From the desk's clutter, you could see why he needed to say that. He has since changed. Genesis 1 presupposes this human need and those human dynamics. The world as a whole can seem as chaotic as my friend's apartment and my son's desk. That was the case for Israelites who heard Genesis 1 in its excellent context. Genesis assured them and assures us that the world is not that way, even if it sometimes looks like it. God created it in orderly fashion with everything in its place. The way the days of creation pan out is that God spends the first 3 laying the foundation for the work as a whole, and the second 3 building on this foundation. To use an artistic metaphor, God spends the first 3 days sketching the outline of a picture, and the second 3 filling in the details. So on Sunday, God separated light and darkness, and on Wednesday, God set up the entities that actually shine light on the earth. On Monday, God erected the dome to separate the water above and the water below, and on Thursday, God filled the lower water with its creatures and commanded into being the birds that fly across the dome. It was all very organized. Genesis has already described God's bringing things into being by speaking and then by making. Day 5 adds talk of God's creating things. It is the first occurrence of that verb since the opening line. While Genesis's use of the different expressions is part of its liking for repetition and variation, it seems significant that it uses this verb when it comes to the wondrous variety of animate objects in the world. Using the word create is especially striking in connection with the sea monsters. While that phrase could denote ordinary creatures such as whales, such creatures were also symbols of dynamic power asserted against God. In saying God created them, Genesis hints again at the total sovereignty of the Creator God. No entities within the world are outside God's dominion. They are all God's creatures. There is nothing to fear in the world. When God blesses all these creatures, it is the equivalent of making the plants and trees with their seed in them, which meant they had inbuilt capacity to reproduce. Blessing has the same connotation for animate life. Blessing thus means something different in the Old Testament from what it means in the New Testament. Blessing conveys to these creatures the capacity to reproduce. Hence, it is spelled out as involving fruitfulness and the capacity to fill the world. So the work of Thursday fills out the outline from Monday. In turn, Friday fills out the sketch from Tuesday, when land emerged and plants and fruit trees began to grow. On Friday, the land creatures appeared, for whom the plants and fruit trees will be food. Initially, Genesis mentions 3 categories of creatures. The cattle are the animals directly associated with the human world. Then there are other creatures that move on the ground, as opposed to being in the air or the sea, perhaps creatures such as insects and mice. Finally, there are the animals of the wild, such as lions, deer, and wild donkeys. Once again, Genesis notes the structured and consistent nature of this world. The creatures belong to various species. All right. Corey?
I just look because we've been talking about Tiamat, who is the Babylonian sea dragon, salt sea dragon, and how I know Tiamat is very salty. Salt, like Tiamat tries destroying the cosmos. And here, this word has actually a lot of like connection to kind of those crazy sea creatures that are like the embodiment of chaos. And here, Yahweh creates, and they're within His dominion. And yeah, it's just praise King Jesus. All of us under His sovereignty. We don't have Elohim's gods, plural, battling each other, and now we are here because of the war. But no, we're here because of one uncause who then created us the cause. One uncause cause. And yeah, that's my thought. Praise King Jesus.
Let's see if I had any thoughts.
What was your thought, Hoey?
Pretty much just this. It's just the well thought out organization of the creation. Like it's all like one depends on the one before it. So like the 3 days where it's being filled with creatures, it's like the 3 previous days was setting up for that. And then also, well, if you're going to have creatures, you kind of need like usually a light source in order for them to really operate correctly. Like one thing I learned about recently, which is honestly crazy. So moths being drawn to a light, apparently there's a reason why they get stuck with that. It's not that they're like attracted to the light. It's that their bodies are designed to fly with the lights above them. So when there's a light source that's like right in front of you and they fly past it, their bodies will orient so that the light is above them. And so they start flying around it and they can't escape. So with the sun, moon, and stars being created the day before, that was necessary for a creature like a moth because it depended on the lights being above it. Or else they just, I don't know what they do. That would be an interesting thought if there was no wage war against the sun.
Emo animal.
All right. Well, that was my thoughts.
All right. Let's say that. All right. That concludes our reading. We'll get back to more media. We leave at 5:15.
So concludes our regularly scheduled program.
Well, it's so funny that you like cats, but you don't like dogs. Because cats are even like scientifically just dumber than dogs. You're just talking about the intellectual level of dogs.
Were you listening to what I said?
Yeah, you're talking about like. Yeah, you're talking about the how they do store things. But yeah, it's like
No,
dumb
I
things.
corrected myself. I said I don't need memory.
Oh, I missed that part then.
You missed everything.
Okay. All right, I'll shoot myself in the foot. Put this on speakers while you wait for your download. I'm excited for all of us to go to camp together. Now Logan's like, that's the reason why I hate dogs. How you doing, friend?
Well, I had the home base map today.
Oops.
Banana!
Nice. Are you just not getting good sleep lately? Oh, okay. Hmm.
Psalms.
Hmm. 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 Yeah.
All one.
Hmm. I would. Hmm. Hmm. You out, friend?
No.
But seriously, Logan, please do if you want to stay a night. The more you want me around, the more I want to get away. I want to be loathed when I'm around. Like, why is that dude here? Oh, I'm having coffee with Ben in the morning tomorrow, so if you stay the night, you can join us. Ben tomorrow morning. Yeah. Did I say tomorrow night? Tomorrow morning. And with you. Alright, see you tonight. No, we're going to Legacy. That's right, you're... Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Portion that's right after that. Let's get ready.
Mm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Basically just you have them all, and then you have the scripture that kind of goes with
Mm-hmm.
and so I've got it divided so that it's currently set up so it's fall, winter, spring, summer.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have to revisit these columns.
Mm.
I just spent most of last night. The scripture that they had provided on this website, I was
Mm.
like, okay. Was from a Jewish website. So they had Ezra and Nehemiah combined. So
Yeah.
at one point it said like Ezra 18, and I was like, I don't think there's 18 chapters.
Yeah.
I
Makes
was like,
sense.
oh yeah, they
Is the
combined
king
Nehemiah.
the kings are combined too?
So they have whenever they cite it, like Book of Kings, Samuel, or Chronicles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm.
The other fun part was they also have a
Oh, yeah, sure.
But we'll have more than that. If it's winter, then more. Huh? Well, huh. Huh. So you have to first go, okay? So it's literally in the name, like TV. P. Oh, P. It's on the right side. Are you guys gonna play more Rocket League? Ah. I'll have phones up. Oh. You know what? I'll just switch over. My headphone. I think my capture card is bonkers out. Is bonkering out. If I don't get what I got, that's okay. Oh my gosh. Got right into that. I'm watching everything like a silly goose. Oh. You know what? Let me get my head in the game. I'm not going to save scum this though. Focus down. All right, in 3 minutes, bro, we gotta bounce. Mhm. Oh, Charmander. So yeah, if you level, if you Well, if you evolve Charmander, it will eventually become Charizard. No, you gotta level it up, so make it purposely fight other Pokemon.
I know what I'm doing.
All right, Char, we're out of time, so wrap it up. How long would that be? So you're requesting flexibility to wait 4 minutes? Okay. I can be flexible. Is it cute? That's awesome, B. I can't look at it right now. Yeah. Oh yeah, Charmander does. If you level it up, B, it will eventually become Charizard. You gotta level up and evolve it. You have to. There's a way to make Pokemon evolve in that game. Interesting. Ah. What's up? Oh. Got corn on the brain. Sounds like a dance. Hey, the Milky Way. You ready? I've been waiting for you, so let me just quickly. So that's during the beginning phase where he summons. He gets a couple free pot shots at me. Oh man, I gave him 1 HP left. All right. Let's go, friend. Are you gonna stay here, Ethan? Or are you gonna come?